Good evening. I'm Jason Mikes. Welcome to 50 Shades of Shakespeare. I understand Reader's article primarily addresses the erotic implications of Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. However, since Shakespeare's use of the sexual body humor is a pattern that pervades nearly all his plays, and Romeo and Juliet is thought to have been written at nearly the same time as A Midsummer Night's Dream, I'd like to examine Franco Zeffirelli's adaptation of Romeo and Juliet in the same light. Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet is in many cases our students' first experience with the bard, often read around age 13, coincidentally Juliet's age in Zeffirelli's version. Moreover, Zeffirelli's adaptation is one of the most widely used films in coordination with the text. As a result, I believe an examination of the eroticism found in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, as well as Zeffirelli's adaptation, is very relevant to the secondary school teacher. His parents frequently ask, just what are we teaching these kids anyway? Because it would be impossible to adequately cover all of the bawdry in a 10-minute presentation, I've chosen two famous scenes that are famous for their sexual implications, as a representation of Zeffirelli's treatment of the subject and his adaptation. I've attempted to divide the presentation into 3 points to consider. First, titillations you hope your 13-year-olds don't pick up at school. Second, casual flirtation or part of the actual thrust. And finally, a projection or just good editing. Let's begin with titillations you hope your 13-year-olds don't pick up at school. A closer look at the possible bawdry in Act 1, Scene 1. Following the chorus in Act 1, Scene 1, we have Samson and Gregory, two servants of the house of Capulet. The possible dual meanings of the lines are clearer at certain times than others. Samson appears to be bragging about his sexual prowess with a sort of locker room humor. His proposed domination of both the male and female Montagues is suggestive and violent in nature. He begins by saying he can strike or attack quickly if he is moved, possibly aroused. Gregory teases him and eggs him on by saying, but he's not quickly moved to strike. Perhaps he's impotent, is the suggestion. Samson, strangely, says a dog of the house of Montague moves me. Gregory, again in a teasing mode, says to move is to stir, or to be aroused, and to be valiant is to stand erect. Therefore, if he is moved or aroused, he'll probably shy away, claiming once again that he would not have the courage to follow through. Samson insists that a dog of that house shall move him to stand, and he'll take the wall of any man or maid of the Montagues. Gregory points out that shows him a weak slave, for the weakest goes to the wall, and Samson replies quickly, true, and therefore women, being the weaker vessels, are ever thrust to the wall, implying rape. Therefore he will push Montague's men from the wall and thrust his maids to the wall. After Samson's second use of the word dog, it becomes clear that he's using it as a derogatory term in reference to the members of the Montague household. Gregory once again teases Samson by saying the quarrel is between the masters and the men. Samson says, doesn't matter, 'tis all one. I'll show myself a tyrant. When I fought with the men, I'll be cruel with the maids and cut off their heads. Gregory inquisitively asks, the heads of the maids? Samson says, aye, the heads of the maids, or their maiden heads. Their virginity, taken in whatever sense you want. Gregory says, then continuing the joke, they have to take it in the sense, through sensation, that feel it. Samson says, me they shall feel while I'm able to stand, and 'tis known I'm a pretty piece of flesh, implying he's well endowed. After Samson claims he is well endowed, Gregory retorts, "'Tis well thou art not fish," and he makes a reference to poor John, a fish that's famous for being small and shriveled. When he sees the Montagues coming, however, he does say, "Draw thy tool." Samson, continuing the joke even when the enemy is approaching, says, "My naked weapon is out. Quarrel, I will back thee." In the following slide, let's see how Zeffirelli treats this scene.
But the quarrel is between our masters and us, their men.
Ah, 'tis all one.
Well, here come the house of the Montagues.
Good morrow.
Good morrow to you, sir.
Quarrel, I will back thee.
Right. Fear me not.
Come, let's on.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
Look at that. No, sir.
Ah.
I do not bite my thumb at you, sir. But I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do you quarrel, sir?
Quarrel, sir? No, sir.
If you do, sir, I am for you. I serve as good a man as you.
No better?
Yes, better, sir.
You lie.
Draw! Draw, if you be men! But the quarrel is between our masters and us, their men.
Ah, 'tis all one.
Here come the house of the Montagues.
Entitled Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. The camera versus the text.
Good morrow.
Good morrow to you, sir.
At the director's command, the
Quarrel.
camera inevitably adds
I will
this
back thee.
text,
Right.
modifying it, sometimes
Fear me
subtly,
not.
sometimes forcefully.
Come, let's on.
Zeffirelli trims out much of the bottom between Samson and Gregory so that their joking takes on a sinister tone. When the scene
Do you bite
explodes
your
into
thumb at
violence,
us, sir?
camera work shows its swift progress and dire end.
I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do you bite your thumb at
Zeffirelli
us,
seems
sir?
to want to establish his purpose quickly.
No, sir.
Ah.
The tone of the play
I
was
do not bite my
intended to
thumb
be
at you,
obvious from the
sir.
start.
But I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do you quarrel, sir?
He continues by saying the effect is Zeffirelli's.
Quarrel, sir?
Acting on some strong
No,
hits from
no,
Shakespeare,
no,
but
sir.
mainly going
If you
beyond
do,
Shakespeare.
sir, I am for
Does
you.
not emphasize
I serve as
criticism
good a
or
man
the
as
terror
you.
of the
No
field.
better?
Yes,
Later
better,
in the
sir.
article, Paleo estimates that Zeffirelli cuts nearly 60% of
You
Shakespeare's text as it's
lie.
Next clip, 1976 version.
Gregory on my work will not carry coats. No, for then we would be colliers. I mean, and we being collar, we'll draw.
Aye, while you live, draw your neck out of collar.
I strike quickly being moved.
But thou art not quickly moved to strike.
Because the house I Montague moves me.
To move is to stir, and to be valiant is to stand. Therefore, if thou art moved, thou runnest away.
The dog of that house shall move me to stand. I will take the wall of any man or maid of Montague.
That shows thee a weak slave. For the weakest goes to the wall.
'Tis true. And therefore, women being the weaker vessels are ever thrust to the wall. Therefore, I will push Montague's men from the wall and thrust his maids to the wall.
The quarrel is between our masters and us, their men.
That is all one. I will show myself a tyrant. When I fought with the men, I will be civil with the maids. I will cut off their heads.
The heads of the maids?
Now the heads of the maids are they maiden heads. Take it in what sense thou wilt.
They must take it in sense that feel it.
me, they shall feel what I am able to stand. 'Tis known I'm a pretty piece of flesh.
'Tis well thou art not fish. If thou hadst, thou hadst been poor John. All right, fool. Here comes of the house of Montagues.
Though this version is much lesser known and used, in fact, I didn't even discover it until I began this project, it is far more loyal to the text than Zeffirelli's take. Part 2. Casual flirtation or part of the actual thrust? So far, Zeffirelli seems to merely flirt with the erotic implications of the original Shakespearean script. But to be fair, before coming to any conclusions, I also would like to consider Zeffirelli's treatment of Act 2, Scene 3, another segment of Romeo and Juliet that is known for its body content. Again, let's compare Shakespeare's dialogue with Zeffirelli's adaptation.
Gregory, on my word, will not carry coals.
No, for then we would be colliers.
I mean, we being collar, we'll draw.
Aye, while you live, draw your neck out of
Mercutio is
I strike
inquiring as
quickly
to the
being
whereabouts
moved.
of
But thou art
Rhoda.
not quickly moved to
He
strike.
goes on to jest about Romeo's infatuation with
To move is to
Rosalind,
stir and to be
teasingly
valiant, to
stated that
stand,
Romeo
therefore,
is
if thou art
then shriveled
moved,
like
thou
a dead
runnest
fish without
away.
The dog of that house shall move me to stand. I will
He
take
goes
the
on
wall
to
of any
twist
man all
Romeo's
made of
words after
Montague.
Romeo
That shows thee a
arrives,
weak slave.
so they
For
take
the
on a
weakest
sexual
goes
meaning.
to the wall.
'Tis
can
true,
be seen in
and
his
therefore
treatment
women being the
of
weaker
words
vessels are
business.
ever thrust to the wall.
Case.
Therefore, I will push Montague's men from the wall and thrust his maids to the wall.
Give you a little more time with this screen,
and thus their men.
That
considering
is
I'm
all
not going
one.
line by
I
line.
will show myself a tyrant. When I fought with the men, I will be civil with the maids. I will cut off their heads.
The heads of the maids?
Neither heads of the maids are they maiden heads, take it in what sense thou wilt.
They must take it in sense that feel.
It is at this point that Romeo really begins to take part in the wordplay by making sexual suggestions of his own, involving the words flower and pump. Mercutio then welcomes Romeo back from the land of the melancholy, after yet another lewd joke, though the straight-laced Benvolio finally implores Mercutio to quit. As Thomas W. Ross states in his article entitled The Safety of a Pure Blush, Shakespeare's Body Clusters, even though Benvolio prompts Mercutio to stop this jesting, Shakespeare has achieved the desired effect, to call attention to the obscenities both before and after the stop there speeches. When Shakespeare himself explains an obscenity or calls our attention to one, we can with assurance smile at the witticism, or perhaps turn up our noses in disapproval if we are that way inclined. Mercutio then calls even more attention to Benvolio's attempt to bring modesty to the conversation by mocking Benvolio's words and making yet another sexual joke. At this point, the entrance of the nurse seems to only encourage Mercutio, who's already in a lewd mood. Again, let's see how Zeffirelli brings the scene to the screen.
Good morrow to you both. That we should be thus afflicted with these strange flies, these passion mongers, these pardonnez-moi. Signor Romeo, bonjour. Bonjour. There's a French salutation to your French slop. Huh? You gave us the counterfeit fairly last night, sir. What counterfeit did I give you? The slip, sir, the slip. Can you not conceive? Oh, pardon, good Mercutio. My business was great. And in such a case as mine, a man may strain courtesy. Oh, come between us, good Benvolio. My wit faints. Thy wit is very bitter, sweetie. It is most sharp sauce. Why, is not this better now than groaning for love? Now art thou sociable, now art thou Romeo, now art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this drivelling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in a hole. Stop there. Thou desirest me to stop in my tail against the hair? Thou wouldst else have made thy tail large. No, thou art deceived.
for I was come to the whole depth of my tale, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer.
Here's goodly gear. Here's a fine barge. A sail. A sail! A sail!
No! Two! A shirt and a smock! Hey, shh.
Peter?
Oh, none.
My fan, Peter?
Good Peter, to hide her face, for her fan's the fairer of the two.
God ye good morrow, gentlemen.
God ye good e'en, fair gentlewoman.
Is it good e'en, I pray?
Well, 'tis no less, I tell you, for the bawdy hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon.
Out upon you, what a marry you?
One gentlewoman that God hath made himself to mar.
By my troth, it is well said, for himself to mark with our. Gentlemen, can any of you tell me where I may find young Romeo?
I'm the youngest of that name, for fault of the worse.
If you be he, sir, I desire some conference with you.
Of course, she'll invite him to some supper.
Aboard! Aboard! Aboard!
You filthy bum!
Here she comes!
An old hare-haw! And an old hare-haw is better than good meat in Lent! Not a half! His haw is too much for a score! When it haws there, it's be
Ancient lady!
Scurvy Dave! Scurvy Dave! I'm none of his flirt gills! I'm none.
So does Zeffirelli project too many of his own fancies onto the play? Or does he simply edit the script for film while maintaining the originally intended spirit of Shakespeare's Bawdry? After viewing Act 2, Scene 3, it seems to really depend upon the interpreter of the film itself. In The Safety of a Pure Blush, Shakespeare's Body Clusters, Thomas W. Ross writes the following concerning Shakespeare's Bawdry. These groups of words have a dual effect. First, they communicate on an innocent level, camouflaging sexual imagery behind a series of allusions to, let us say, archery or birds' nests. Second, they create a counter-effect to this first one, producing a mutual influence one upon the other that increases the probability of latent, indecent meaning. This dual effect permits the reader to enjoy the sport with the safety of a pure blush. At times, lines from Romeo and Juliet may have been construed by later readers of the script to suggest an eroticism Shakespeare may not have intended. We do, though, know that Shakespeare was a bawdy fellow. As a result, Thomas L. Berger writes in an article entitled Body and the Bard, "Here we learn to be a bit unfair that almost anything longer than it is wide may well be considered a phallus, and most everything and anything not lengthy, for example the human eye, refers to the pudendum muliebris." When considering the scenes from Zeffirelli's version and the research done by these scholars, I must conclude that while Zeffirelli maintained the original tragedy of the play, that is, that Romeo and Juliet's love could not stand because of a long-standing duel between their families, much of the comedy was missing. And as a result, the audience was somewhat cheated in his version of the play. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the slideshow. Here are the works cited.
Good morrow to you both.
Have a good night.